morning, everybody. Welcome to TableTakes presented by Gen Con. Here to talk some gaming news with you today is me, Christian, Emma, and Derek. We got lots going on this week. How is everybody doing?
Doing all right.
Doing great.
Kind of a crazy time.
Yeah, we're feeling all over the weather, which I think is a big plus. Our hearts go out to Bonsai, of course, who is not with us today for some undisclosed reason.
We're over the weather as
Right.
opposed to being under the weather.
Right.
I like that.
That's the way I put it. I
Yeah.
thought that was much more positive than any way else I could have
Well,
put it.
speaking of weather, it's actually kind of neat because we moved to a new house right around Thanksgiving. And if anybody has been to Seattle, you know what kind of weather we have had over that period of time.
Yes.
Sunshine.
Yes, correct.
Rays of
Not
joy.
Really.
No.
Tell them the truth.
The truth is a very light, persistent, constant, never-ending drizzle.
Yeah.
Yes. That sounds like Washington weather.
Yes, but we have finally started getting some nice sunlight, so now I know just how bright my office gets.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yes,
that's
it's
amazing.
pretty much snowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Seattle snow, which is just colder rain.
There.
Yeah, it's just rain that sticks to your car harder as you're driving. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, hey, we actually do have some gaming news today. Gamers all over the world this morning woke up and rejoiced as they found out all sports were canceled and they get to stay home. So that's the first thing. It's a good headline.
And play
I think.
games.
No, we'll get to real headlines. We'll do them. First one up today is Free League has acquired the license for the Middle-earth role-playing game. This is great news. The One Ring Adventures Middle-earth license goes to Free League. They announced it on Twitter, and they're doing podcasts about it. They're keeping the original designers.
Yeah, it's unclear. Well, yeah, I mean, so it's really interesting to see how much they bring along with that too.
Yeah.
Because it's are they just going to reprint and kind of pick up where everything left off, or what? Unsure yet.
We have no idea. I mean, I assume that they're going to be having the game, like the games that's already out. They're still planning on putting out more products, so I assume they're just continuing with the line.
I just wonder. It's because so much work had been done by Cubicle 7. I wonder if they're just able to kind of pick up that project and continue, or if they have to restart any of that, or what. Like I'm curious about
how much they're allowed to take forward. This is very exciting though, because we've talked about this multiple episodes in the past, specifically with Hawk Robinson, and about general
He's
fears.
Lots of
that
fan.
the Middle-earth role-playing games would go away forever, and it was really in limbo for a while. So it's really good to see that somebody is picking up the license.
Especially a company that we have loved so many of the other things they put out.
Yeah.
Like again, this is the folks who brought us the Alien RPG that we played on game night recently. Had
Very
a lot of
good.
fun with.
Yeah.
They also Tales from the Loop is near and dear to many people's hearts.
Yeah.
Very much.
Coriolis is the sci-fi setting they do that I really like.
Which I haven't got to check out yet. You told me to.
It's Arabian Nights in Space. I mean,
man, that sounds-
who is not in on that?
I don't know.
That does sound pretty cool.
So, hopefully more details will be coming out soon. They have the date for when the agreement is going into effect, but they haven't said when the books will be back in print. So hopefully people who are waiting around for more One Ring stuff will have a Christmas in July.
There.
Oh, there you go.
Because everything is sold out, right? Like that was the big thing. Is there was a bunch of bundles, a bunch of ways to get it digitally. Hopefully you did, because we let you know when those were happening.
But if not, they'll probably put them back up on that eventually anyway.
Yeah.
We've seen it like 3 times
Yeah.
in the last 6 months that those Lord of the Rings games have been up on the bundles. So
Yeah,
hopefully that wasn't your last chance. But
Cubicle
it may
7, I
have
think,
been.
was trying to get their last gasp, basically, while they had them. But like, I actually was like, maybe I should pick up a copy of the One Ring before. Oh, it's gone.
There. And it's gone.
The nice thing about those digital copies is even when they run out of them, they can somehow make more.
Right.
Magically. The internet is so great.
It does really make you wonder. I mean, we never speculate wildly on this show, but what exactly happened with the license to make it, because it's the kind of thing, if there was some real license difficulties, the fact that now Free League is doing it, did they negotiate a better deal?
Yeah, it's I don't know,
Yeah.
because it's not like Cubicle 7 was doing a bad job.
Right.
And it's not like, as much as we love Free League, it's not like they're automatically going to come in and just do such a better job than what Cubicle 7 was doing. Like, people who've looked at the One Ring, it was a gorgeous, gorgeous game.
Yeah.
So, that would then kind of lead to some conclusion that the licensor wanted more money, or some other deal, or maybe the licensor just happens to know Free League more closely.
Yeah,
So, it's entirely possible, because Free League is in Europe.
They took the step of hiring the original author and the original designer to
Yeah.
keep and the lead designer on the game to keep up. Obviously, they want to move forward with what the game was, and they're trying to make something new out of it.
Well, although I will say, if they do a cinematic mode like the Alien RPG has, I think that could be a huge boost to getting more people into it. Because that, like with the Alien RPG, it was so easy to get into, and you basically play through something that feels very much
I
like
honestly
a
wish
movie.
my whole life had a cinematic mode.
So you just turn that on.
Yeah.
Well, like to get to that point, in case people aren't familiar, the Alien RPG, launched with kind of two modes, cinematic and campaign, which, if you're kind of a hardcore role player or an experienced role player, translates to basically just one-shots versus a campaign. So when you're talking about how much you like the cinematic mode for Alien, what would you want of that applied to Lord of the Rings? Is it the one-shotness, the pre-generated characters, or is there some other aspect of it?
Yeah, well, it's more than a one-shot. I think a one-shot kind of falls into this territory as, hey, it's going to be casual, it's going to be maybe a lighter experience, although that can vary from game to game. But for this one, it was 3 different sessions, so you can fill in multiple game sessions. It was so easy to get into, and not having DM'd it, I can't speak to the GM side of it, but it seems like all the materials right there, not necessarily as much preparation going into it. Not that preparation is bad, but you can kind of just jump into it. I have my characters.
Considering how much pre-production goes into a movie.
Yeah.
When we say cinematic, we absolutely mean from the audience perspective. Let's go see a movie. Like, definitely not from the production or actor side.
Yeah. Well, because they just do a lot of the work for it. Like the ship is there, your people are there, all the set pieces, the events are put into place. Like you don't have to come up with the monsters, the creatures in it.
I'm personally a huge fan of I guess whole package adventures, and I use one shot very loosely.
Yeah.
I guess maybe what I mean is a couple shot. I really, really love getting a package that has pre-generated characters with intriguing, interrelated, and conflicting goals.
Yes.
And then putting them in a scenario that has twists that I can then kind of just spin on them. Because like the Alien kit, for example, would be perfect to just take to a con and just play very quickly. That's what we did at Origins when it first came out.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff I really do love. And I think that those are perfect for licensed games where sometimes the concept for a long-running campaign is a little hard because you have this huge overarching movie plot or book plot that's kind of hanging in the background.
Right.
That everybody kind of, you want to tie into it, but you don't want to replicate it. There's a little bit of a balance there sometimes for longer running games.
Yeah.
But for that cinematic short shot, couple shot, that is great. You could have an awesome Lord of the Rings thing where you get a group of characters who have some kind of built-in backstories and secrets and conflicts. Like playing through some of the side scenes in the movie or the book gives you a little bit of that connection without having to worry about how long are we going to be able to maintain it.
Exactly.
And then I also just love the feeling of here's a pre-generated character. You didn't build this. You are not
responsible for how good it is.
Well, yeah, like the character.
Yeah.
The
That's
character
what that means to
the
me.
character's performance doesn't reflect badly on you, so you can play them how they're supposed to be because you're like, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, this is what I was given. I can be a drug addict or a terrible person or whatever it is.
I'm not bad at this game because I made a character who is suboptimal at combat.
I'm bad at this game because somebody else made it for me.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
The company that made the game.
Yeah.
That doesn't give me a whole lot of hope. This doesn't just include the One Ring role-playing game. It also includes Adventures in Middle-earth, the 5e variant. So if you're not into trying out a new system and you're all about the dungeons and the dragons, you can go ahead and try that out on there too. It's going to be put out by the same company. And that's the news for that. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Derek is going to now give us a little bit of information about what's hot.
Yeah, well, so ICV2, we've covered this before a couple times. They release their top 5, top 10 games in various categories. So we've gone through that list before. We're not going to go through every game on that list because a lot of very familiar titles are going to appear there.
Yeah.
So the link will be in chat. People can go check that out if they want to get the full rundown. But we kind of wanted to cover a few of the highlights. So overall, hobby games continued to grow this year. ICV2 pointing it at least 5% growth from 2018. Which is still very, very solid. Apparently, digital growth for collectible games and RPGs is much higher. So it seems like probably Magic digitally, a number of the other games that have come out digitally that are really tabletop adaptations or inspired by seem to be doing very well, which
Yeah.
we've talked about before, like the bundle that was last week, I think, or the week before.
Yeah.
RPGs seem to be doing really well, probably on the back of the rise of D&D, for
Probably.
example. But there were a couple that really jumped out as newcomers to these top 10 lists. So for board games, Dune and Dark Souls being in the top 10 was notable to me. I don't remember Dark Souls being in there before.
Yeah, Dark Souls has been around for a couple of years, and working in retail, I can't remember it flying off the shelves.
They
So
haven't
that's
put out a new game recently.
I don't think so. So that strikes me as very interesting, and that suggests that maybe they came out with a new supplement, but I don't think so. But that would suggest that maybe it's finding its audience.
Yeah.
Because I had played the game very briefly, didn't have a chance to play it a ton, but it was solid. It was a good kind of co-op game with incredible miniatures. So I wonder if now it's just kind of taken time for that to spread. I don't know.
or people just got it for the
Word of
minis.
mouth has finally got out there.
So having that one on the list is interesting, and then Dune being on the list is fantastic, just
Yeah.
because it came out last year, so to already be in the top selling list is great. And then for it to kind of be a re-release effectively
And you've
of
both
an
played
ancient old
Dune?
game.
Yeah.
And
It
you
was-
love it and you don't?
No, it was a good game. It was good.
She was criticizing the implementation during the stream, I think.
No, well, there's a fair amount to it. There's a fair amount of complexity to it. There's a lot. It's one of these games where it takes a lot to kind of explain, set up all the pieces, set up the scenario. But once you get into it, it's pretty straightforward. It kind of flows, which I like about a game. Like once you get in it, you can just play it, and it's fairly easy to understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I think what it was is that during the hype stream for Badge Reg, we only really had time to kind of set up the game, go through like the tutorial around, and then it was like, okay, time's up, done.
Play
let's leave.
around.
So we
Yeah,
didn't
that
get
is a
chance
pet
to
peeve of
fully-
mine. It's just anyone who's like, oh, I bet we can play Dinosaur Island in half an hour. Sure.
I didn't say.
I bet you can't.
I said we would just do what we could.
Can you
Yeah.
even set up Dinosaur Island
No.
in less than half an hour?
No, but I can also speak to Dune, and I'm a convert, I will say, for that. After that experience, I'm a convert to the game.
So what you're saying is we should schedule a new session of Dune and play through the whole
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
Great.
Okay.
So those were the kind of notable ones on the board game side of things. And then card game had Point Salad
Point
pop up.
salad.
So
I'm not familiar with point salad.
Emma, would you like to point salad us?
Point Salad is a game made by awesome local game designers, Flat Out Games. It's a collective, people who
like that was a
design
baited question
games together. It's really fun, really cute, very light. So Point Salad, we're gamers here. You might have heard the term before. It's generally a term used to describe how there's lots of different ways to get points, and none of them are necessarily better than the others. So this is a gamer game in that it's like a pun for gamer technology, and that it's actually salad. So it's actually lettuce and tomatoes and onions and so on and so
How
forth.
is it a pun?
It's a gamer mechanic slang pun. So a lot of times people will be like, oh, what kind of game is that? Oh, it's a point salad game.
Yeah.
Which basically just means do things get points.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
collect things from all the different things.
Yeah.
This thing
Yep.
get points. Yeah, I've
So,
played those
so,
games.
so point salad
Is a
is
salad
a
game.
where you do point
Yeah.
salad
And
things,
so you're
and it's about making a
you
salad.
made it into a pun
Yeah,
instead of
It's-
taking an existing
Correct.
pun.
Yes.
It's next level.
yeah.
Man, that is meta AF.
And it's really great. It plays really fast. You basically have some cards there, double-sided cards, multi-use cards, so they can either get you the points or be set collection. And so you're trying to say like, oh, well, I'm getting a lot of cabbage. I'm going to get more cabbage scoring cards, and so on and so forth. Plays really fast. Very
So you're
gorgeous
a cabbage
design.
salad person then?
That's
Yeah.
gross.
That's coleslaw.
That's
Coleslaw.
gross.
No,
Gross.
coleslaw is salad.
Also, it's gross.
They're cabbage.
Yes. So my point salad was definitely the chance for me to finally be like, I only like these 3 vegetables. I'm only collecting those.
See, that's how you play. Like if you like cats, you only get cats. Play cats in
That's
games.
that's how American men in general play food.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I only like these 3 vegetables. And they're all meat.
So, but like it's notable for this being in the top because it's new,
Yeah.
and it did not have a huge push behind it. It just really seemed to spread by word of mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
People got really excited about it. I think it was released at Gen Con last year. Yeah, I think it
It
may have-
was, yeah, it was definitely at Gen Con. I think it was one of those released at Gen
Yeah,
Con
yeah,
games
yeah.
where it's like makes it its debut, but it was available before that.
For it to kind of be in the top this quickly is nice. Like it's just, at least for me, I like the top list to be a mix of, yeah, that's a classic. Like Catan's always going to be there.
Yeah.
We understand why that is. And then I like seeing each year
I
kind of
don't
a
even
new crop
understand
come
why
in.
that is.
There.
I don't get it,
So it's a
guys.
mix. It's like a salad. It's like a salad of different
Yep.
types of games, old games and new games.
If
Like the old
cabbage-
games are the
if cabbage
cheese.
ever shows up in this list. So then the final category we wanted to look at was RPGs.
Yay.
Because Alien showed up in that list.
Yeah, and Pathfinder.
Well, like Pathfinder,
yeah.
we understand why that's there.
Because it's a rad game.
Yep. But like seeing Pathfinder, D&D, and the Star Wars games in the top 5 RPGs, you're like, yeah, people are still playing RPGs. Like,
Yep.
we get that.
Yeah.
But seeing Alien kind of pop in was very nice because, like, again, that just came out last year.
And it was beautiful and deserves to be on that list as far as I'm concerned. Like, that's gorgeous looking. Just
Yeah.
the way, like, the book and everything is set up, like, that's gorgeous.
We had a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah.
I would have had a lot of fun playing it.
There.
Maybe we can do it again
Next time.
So yeah, like this would if Free League likes our coverage and wants to make a new cinematic like 3-shot, we would be happy to play it again.
Yeah. Well, shout out though on if you want to see more about the Alien RPG, we do have that episode up on YouTube, so you can go to YouTube and check that out there if you want to learn more about the game.
I'm sure it's wildly entertaining.
We had fun.
Yeah, we had fun.
I wasn't even being sarcastic. That's just a speech impediment I have.
Long live Cham, I think is what we just
Oh
have
my
to
gosh.
say about that.
Darn.
So that kind of covers most of the high points that jumped out to us.
Yep.
But if anybody is kind of curious about what else is on that list, to see what they want to check
I'm
out.
sure the link is up in chat at this
It is,
point.
indeed.
All right, that's great news. Speaking of news, we've been talking the last couple of weeks about Fantasy Flight Games closing down their RPG department and
Yeah.
firing all of their employees.
Bad stuff.
It was bad stuff, and we're like, oh no, they make all of these games that we really like,
Yep.
like Star Wars.
And then we heard the rumor that their long-term plans were to end those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So we had a week or so of that.
Panic.
I panicked a little bit. I
Yeah.
just started an Edge of the Empire campaign.
Yep.
Like I'm actually quite enjoying it, despite those ridiculous dice, which I still maintain are ridiculous.
I love them.
I'm sure you do.
I love dice.
But good news.
I like being able to use dice that I already have instead of, like, I love buying dice, but if I can only play them for one game.
That's why you just want the system to be good so you can use it for multiple games.
Right. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. Well, there is some good news on the horizon, and I think that that it's worth talking about today. The transition of Fantasy Flight Games RPG systems to Edge Studio, which Edge Studio is part of Edge Entertainment. And it is a European company that has done some translations for them in the past, getting their European distribution out there so you can see all these great games in different languages.
Yep.
It looks like they're taking over.
Yeah, like they have a new English language page that launched. Like I have to say, it was a little weird the way that this news rolled out of everyone fired, and then a short time later games are ending, and then a short time later they're all going to the studio we've never heard of in America, and then a short time later, then the studio has an English language page up with details, and they're confirming that, I think there's been some talk about them hiring some of the same designers, but it's not clear. Like, there's a very weird trickle of information
Yeah.
that I feel a lot of our stress kind of would have been alleviated if we could have reversed the order of a lot of those announcements.
Yeah.
Yeah, the important news in this particular piece of news is that they are going to continue printing the books that have already been published.
Yep.
Yep.
And they are going to be putting out new books in the same line.
Yeah.
Now that implies they're going to get some of the same designers. It does not state outright that it is. I'm just glad that the game's not going away.
Well, apparently some of the Star Wars fans, I think, are particularly excited because they have explicitly announced that they're reprinting a number of the Star Wars books that I guess have been getting hard to find.
They have been getting hard
Yeah.
to find.
So
I'm looking for them. They're not super easy to come by
So
right now.
they've explicitly stated they're going to reprint at least some of those. So it should be a lot easier for you to track some of those down now.
Even better.
This is really interesting because Fantasy Flight Games is owned by Asmodee.
Yep.
Edge Studio / Entertainment is owned by Asmodee. So we're talking about reorganization, like, again, wild speculation. Maybe Asmodee is restructuring for a sale to another faceless corporation entity. But you're right. Like, it says sure, stuff is going on, but are they just making these decisions on the fly? I feel like it's not really information that needs to be kept secret for anyone.
I'm sure they're not making it on the fly. Like it strikes me that just Asmodee gobbled up a lot of companies over the past several years, and I think that we may now kind of, with Z-Man kind of exiting and some of the IPs, it sounds like being kind of redistributed among the Asmodee family. Because again, this company has been working with Asmodee for like 20 years, releasing translations in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's new to us, but they've been there.
Yeah.
So it does feel like Asmodee is finally maybe kind of trying to redistribute the work, or the properties. And spread things out a little bit. And there's probably a little bit of a combination of they're trying to optimize for production, and they're trying to make, improve the business for a sale or for individual components for sale or something like that. Because that's kind of how corporations in that scale tend to work. But, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the issues we've had of having the news come out is a factor of just how many cooks there are in that kitchen when you have Asmodee having gotten so many studios.
Right. And I think you might look at it and say, oh, this is a translation company, how much they know about designing games, but I think that someone who translates a game to another language does need to have a very strong sense of what that game is about and how it actually works, because there's so much terminology, right, that doesn't go like one for one, like very in industry terminology. So I would
English
imagine
has some weird words in it.
Yeah.
I've heard. Before we move on, Bonsai just popped into the chat room, so we should all say hi to her with finger guns and wish her well.
Hi, Bonsai.
There you go.
Get better.
We miss you.
Relax and recover.
This job is too hard. Okay.
So I'm very excited to see more L5R in particular. I'm very happy that we're still going to get that. Part of me is excited that we're going to get maybe a different perspective. Not a U.S. perspective on it.
Yeah.
We'll see. L5R is one of those games that I would have loved to have seen it go to, like,
wouldn't that have been a
Japanese
Canadian
designers.
perspective? Wasn't Fantasy Flight in Canada?
No, like Wisconsin, Minnesota.
No, practically
The Midwest.
Canada.
Baby Canada.
Baby Canada. Cheese Canada.
So we can kind of stand down from our DEF CON 5 over losing L5R.
Yeah.
Right. No,
No
we're at
pitchforks.
DEF CON 5 for like so many other reasons right now. Not that I can say any of them out loud. So there you go. All your favorite games, your L5R, your Star Wars. It's not going away, folks. We have a savior in the form of yet another company that Asmodee owns. Congratulations. So the Origins has announced their award nominees. Derek is going to tell us all about it.
Well, so the Origins Awards, if anybody's not familiar, are kind of the industry awards that happen at the Origins Game Fair in June-ish in Columbus, Ohio. So they will announce the nominees. You can kind of review the products. You get a chance to vote at the convention. So we figure that, usually we just kind of run through the list and kind of list off and rattle a bunch of games, and then we move on. So maybe we're going to try something different this year, where each week we will kind of pick one of the core categories. We're not going to cover everything. But we'll pick one of the core categories, spend a little bit more time with each game to try to, we're not the judges. We weren't involved in the selection process. But we can at least say, like, well, were we to have been on the judge panel and these games were to be picked, like, why would we have picked these games?
Yeah.
What stands out about them? So, over the next couple of weeks, we will...
And then we'll send Origins an invoice.
Here you go.
Over the next couple of weeks, we'll cover, like, the board
welcome.
game, card game, miniature game, role-playing game categories to talk about some of those nominees. In chat, we posted the link to the full nominee list if you want to see everything. But keep an eye out for that. So we're going to kind of dive into some of these. I think we were talking before the stream, and all of our areas of expertise, I think, align pretty closely on the role-playing stuff.
Yeah.
So it's going to take us a little bit to dig into some of the other games. We tend to spend a lot of time covering and planning for games, and not as much time playing them as we might want.
Yeah. Which we're trying to change.
Yep.
I think it's great that we're actually trying to get some more games played at this place.
Yeah, well,
It deserves to have some games played in it. You know what I'm saying?
I like that because we spend a lot of time covering Kickstarters where we say what we can based on the pages, but they're not out there yet. They're not tested or proven. I like this direction of actually coming to some games that are out there and saying, hey, if you go to your store or Amazon or wherever you see these, you can actually learn something about games that you can buy right now that have been proven to be good.
Yeah. What I like is that there's so many games on here that I just don't even know about.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's great. it'll give me an opportunity to look into them and let me learn about them.
Yeah, it looks like Sour Beers is chatting in chat about some
All
of the
about
board
parks. What's parks?
They're parks.
Parks.
I mean,
Parks.
They think
Not
Cloudspire is going to win, so we'll see. I mean, like that may also be a thing. Maybe we should have a betting pool running in chat about what's actually going to end up.
Oh,
winning.
if there's gambling
Yeah.
involved, I'll definitely do it.
Non-financial.
I have a problem.
completely
gambling.
unsanctioned.
Oh, unsanctioned is my favorite. It's like Fight Club, which I don't talk about.
But what are we going to talk about on stream? Then? All right. So we will next week. I think we are tentatively planning to cover RPGs.
We're going to cover these with these five RPGs.
Yep. So
as
it's
thoroughly as we can.
Alien, which we have talked a lot about already.
Right.
Over the Edge, which we also talked about. Pathfinder. It sounds like a familiar list. Star-Crossed is a surprise I'm happy to see on this list because it's a phenomenal game that if you haven't played it, I have a feeling it's right up your alley.
I've not played it yet.
It sounds like it's about romance.
It is. It's you've played Dread, the Jenga Tower.
I've not actually played Dread. I
Okay.
wanna
Well,
play that
so
too.
Star-Crossed is two lovers or two people who love each other
Yeah,
who
right.
cannot
Okay, yeah, I remember now.
consummate it,
Yep.
and you have to play Jenga basically. And when
Yeah.
the tower falls, your emotions overwhelm you.
Everything.
And you're from two houses, both alike in dignity.
Yeah.
Yep.
But everything's a disaster in the end. Everything ends
probably.
horribly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Teens in Space, which I think both of you are excited about. So
Yeah.
we'll spend more time
Yes.
going into that.
I'm
next
definitely excited about teens in
Bigger
space.
kids on space bikes. Right?
Sure, that'll definitely be the tagline. Bigger kids on space play.
Bigger in space.
Great. So
Spacey
that's
space.
what we'll cover next week, and then the weeks after we'll cover board games, card game, miniature games. So if anybody in chat or on video has anything that they want to share with us, any of their experiences with the Origins games, send us a message. Let us know.
We would like that. Send us all messages. No pics, please.
What else we got?
My storage is full. Changes to Asmodee pricing, as covered by Emma. We're bringing up Asmodee again. No reason. Oh wait, reason.
So things are getting more expensive. Obviously, people are not very happy about this change. I've seen a lot of talk on the internet, Twitter specifically, about the prices being raised. I think there is some misinformation out there, so want to clear things up. So the MSRP on dozens of games has been increased 10 to 20%. Usually this means a $5 to $10 price increase. So I think Ticket to Ride is going from $49 to $55. I think it was something along those numbers. And this is part of a larger announcement. It's interesting at the same time that their distribution for Asmodee is shifting in-house. So they're no longer using outside distributors. So
Which means you have to pay for more.
well, yeah. So they're keeping more of the pie in-house, and then they're also raising the prices to get more money
You're
that way.
passing the savings onto them.
And I will say, from a design perspective, the thing about board games and the way that they're produced and distributed is they have incredibly tight margins. And you'll see a lot of this on Kickstarters because people doing Kickstarters, they go in one of two directions. Either they go super big, blow everything out, make them very expensive, but the components are also very expensive, or they have to lower the prices to compete with. Often they have to go below retail. So you see a lot of amazing games for $29 on Kickstarter because that's what they need to do to compete.
And those designers die poor.
The people are not making money. Even a large corporation like this, board games per unit, there's so much money made to design the games and to produce the games and ship the games. It's a very expensive process. So no one ever likes to hear about things getting more expensive, but it's less about. And for materials getting more expensive too. We've talked about that on the show as well. It's less, I see this less as, hey, they're getting money grubbing and trying to squeeze more money out of people, and more like, hey, this is a very expensive thing, and sure, for a large corporation, they'll get more money from a corporate perspective, but potentially if it means that other indie designers can also raise their prices because they're not being undercut by these large companies.
Well, there is that
can
kind
be
of
positive.
there's that kind of note of when the market leaders raise their prices, it does create a little bit of shelter for everybody else to do so too.
Yeah.
So there's definitely kind of a push and pull tension there.
Asmodee helping out the little guy by raising all their prices.
Yeah, like to be honest, the news that surprised me here, because like going up by $5 or $10 I understand that that's fine. The thing that surprised me was that Asmodee hadn't already been doing their own distribution. That I was a little shocked by, because I figured they had kind of reached that size a while ago, and I had just missed the news, and apparently not. So this probably was a long time in coming.
Yeah. Distribution is a pain in the butt, though. It's just this Byzantine system of calling boat companies on the phone. Like, it's still this very old school thing, and I think that's why.
And those shipping companies are going to keep it that way as long as they can.
Yeah, they're like worrying about the pallets and getting things on pallets and putting them into warehouses. It's a very hard system to grok, and like we've talked before about distributors and the whole distribution system and the issues with the distribution system and how retailers can't necessarily get the games that they need. And you'll reach out to designers, and designers will say, we have the game, but there's this black box in the middle. And the reason that stays there is because it's such a complicated system. So they're finally doing it. They're trying to streamline the whole system and make things easier and better and cheaper, I guess. Maybe more transparency.
Certainly for them.
Yeah.
That's when you get to that size, to not exert your power to do that was surprising. I was shocked they hadn't done it already.
Yeah.
So we'll see how much that impacts and changes things moving forward.
Yeah. Be interesting to see. And also, those new prices will take effect on May 1st. So, I guess, if there is something, don't go out to stores. Maybe,
no, go do a huge rush in Catan right now. Save your $5.
Yeah.
Plus, everybody already has it, and
we say that, and then it's still number one sales.
Yeah.
It clearly indicates that not everybody has it.
We could sell more copies if we just tell people there's toilet paper inside.
Catan comes with complimentary hand sanitizer.
A bottle of hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
price gets jacked way up.
We made the mistake of going grocery shopping yesterday, and Nellie's like, "Oh, we should pick up toilet paper," and I was like, "Okay." So we turned the aisle, and I'm like,
"Here's an empty aisle.
Here's your wide selection."
Yeah. I may switch to Brawny. We have to.
All right, what do we have for bundles?
Hold on. I gotta do the.
Do you need some help?
Yeah, can do the
bundles.
Yeah, no, I just don't have the. I just don't have that bonsai spark that makes this segment really work. Maybe let's just skip bundles today. Bundle of Holding has Blue Rose for $7.95. You're getting the second edition core rule book, the full-length novel that comes with it, and its sequel novella Pit of Vipers, and the brand new 14-story collection Sovereigns of the Blue Rose. For $20.46, you get Aldous, all that other stuff, the Adventure Collection, 6 of Swords, and the Narrator's Kit, plus 2 more short stories, and it supports the Pride Foundation.
Nice.
A foundation that supports feeling good about yourself.
Is it?
I don't know what that. No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think it's probably more of a Pride Foundation.
Chances are high.
Yeah. So this is not a pirate game.
It is not a pirate
I don't know why it was stuck in my head that it was about pirates.
The rules were generic, and I think they had pirate stuff that came out for it.
Yeah,
but it was not
that's what it was.
only pirates.
Yeah. They mentioned Tamora Pierce, like romantic fantasies in the vein of Tamora Pierce, so I'm sold. That's all that I need to hear about it.
Well, so I haven't, I remember...
Every relationship I had is based off romantic fantasies that I had beforehand, so that makes sense.
So, Blue Rose originally was kind of like a D20-esque spin-off, where it tried to take D20 kind of further into romance and story focus as opposed to as combat focused. And I haven't dug deep enough.
I rolled to get most of my stuff back after the breakup. God damn it.
I haven't dug too deeply into what second edition has changed, but it's still going to probably have that same tone, very story focused, trying to tell emotional stories.
Yeah.
So if that's the kind of thing you want out of your fantasy, then here's a cheap bundle to see if it works for you.
Look, I'm writing fan fiction for my D&D character right now. I've got a lot of stuff there, so that's kind of, I'm all in on that.
You're writing fan fiction or backstory?
It's backstory, because somebody else has to like the character and then write about it for it to be fan fiction.
I guess that is, I guess it's more backstory.
Fan
but
fiction.
It's,
Fan fiction.
Well,
Too hot to handle.
yeah.
She's got a little slash fic in the story.
I had to ask what that was. My DM was like, "Oh, you're writing."
And then my character met
slash
Harry
fiction.
Potter.
I'm like,
and
I don't know
did
what
it.
that is. But now I know.
Now you know.
I know. Now I know.
I hope
it's
they-
not that.
I
Oh,
hope they-
Bonsai, we're falling apart without you.
I hope they introduced you gently.
I learned more than I needed to know.
Great. So, speaking of more than we need to know, time for
Well,
Kickstarters.
It is time for
Kickstarter
Kickstarters. Let's turn to Kickstarter Queen.
We are not worthy.
She's the Kickstarter Queen, and he is very mean. Okay, sorry, we'll just. She's a vampire game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All true. So, let's go through our Kickstarters for this week. First, with hours left. Mere hours. We have the Matchbox collection. And I just love this because it was a collection of just very, very small, very quick games. It's 5 different Euro-style games that can all be played solo or with multiple players in about 20 minutes or so. Yeah, isn't it?
I'm waiting for the Hot Wheels collection because I think that'll be more my speed.
Sure.
The kids saw what I did there.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of the kids did. I think the old kids did. I don't think any of the young kids did.
The young kids aren't watching this.
Okay, well, so this is just a couple of different games. There's 15 days that is, kind of moving animal ponds around season cards. There's
Hey! Sorry, I thought that's the next game on the list.
Oh yeah, why don't you cover that then?
Hey!
Yep. So this is using your weapons to defeat hordes of enemies. I keep misreading that.
Yeah.
Hordes of animals,
No,
and I was
you're
like,
not
what kind of
gonna
horrible
defeat
game is this?
The animals.
Yep. There's Rebus, which is like alchemistic things where you're kind of combining different elements to brew together. Space Lunch is a set collection game.
It's a point salad game.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Rebus is a
see?
point salad game.
You
Yeah.
learned.
I did.
And then Golems
more
is a
you
card
know.
collection game. So, I really like Kickstarters that are collections of really small games.
Yeah.
That individually probably would not support a whole project themselves. I also love really portable Euro games. Like Sail to India is a really small game that I like to bring around with me when we travel.
Yeah.
Because it gives you a little kind of Euro feel, but it's super portable.
Take a little bit of umbrage with them saying it's a 20-minute, very small but still Euro-style game. I think at a certain point you take enough stuff away from a game that it's not a Euro game anymore. Because being large and complex and taking a long time are all like pretty big characteristics.
Used to be you had to design the game in Europe to call it that.
I almost feel like you're saying that you had to play the game in the snow in your bare feet uphill both ways, and you liked it.
Well, they're saying Euro game to appeal to a certain
Sure.
demographic,
Yeah.
you know.
So
I like
Euro-
that every
Euro
fandom has
inspired,
hipsters.
perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Christian Bonsai.
Christian Bonsai. This is not my pick, but it would have been if Bonsai hadn't picked it first. Luckily, she didn't show up today. I mean, for me, because I really
Did
wanted.
you get her sick so you could steal her Kickstarter?
I did
There-
not.
Can neither confirm nor deny. We
I
miss
can
you,
confirm
Bonsai.
or deny. I will do neither. This is called Eat Trash, Be Free. It's got 1 day left. It's a zine quest, so it fits in with our month's theme.
Yep.
This is a Forged in the Dark tabletop role-playing game zine where you play as a gang of animals stealing food and garbage from humans in a small town.
That sounds fun and cute.
Yeah.
It is cute.
Yeah.
But it has a dark side.
Is it?
No.
No, not really.
Yeah. Well, you're fighting.
mean-
Unfortunately, it's a rough town
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
out there, and you're not the only critters hunting for something.
I'm not sure that qualifies as a dark side.
Yeah, that's not
It's
really
a-
big. There's other cute little
it's a
animals
dim-
also trying to eat garbage the same
dim
time
side.
you're
It's a
trying
It's
to
a dim
eat garbage.
side.
I think that's great. And plus you get to make a gang of little animals that go out and hunt for food together. And by hunt for food, I mean dig in dumpsters.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I played a version similar to this when we did a raccoon version of the bubblegum shoe system for Shucks, and it was fabulous.
Oh, you were talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can confirm playing animals and digging through.
Playing adorable dumpster divers is great fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's got a heist planning element, which is obviously why the Forged in the Dark stuff comes in. And you can go after garbage cans, garage fridges, but you can always go after the big scores like the chicken farm or the Halmart grocery store and the local farmers market.
It also has a little tiny bit of a vibe of a Honey Heist to it.
Well, so like this to me, I loved this concept because Blades in the Dark, you play these hardened criminals who are grabbing at whatever territory they can in the mean streets, and you're like, but what if they were raccoons? And you're like, cool.
You can also be the city possum.
Yep.
You know, a displaced deer.
Well, I think if you watched Fantastic Mr. Fox and you're like, yes, please, this is your scene quest for you, basically.
Yeah.
So that's got 1 day left. Sign up now.
And P.S. Yes, please.
So with 2 days left, we have Unconquered, which is a Bronze Age sword and sorcery and sandals and sci-fi tabletop role-playing game.
Things.
Ah, good. Genre mixing. You know who else does that? Rifts.
Yeah, true. Can't deny. So this is particularly interesting to me because the kind of creator is a creator of color on Twitter, very outspoken, has a lot of opinions about a lot of things. So following them there and seeing their perspective on game design and what they their perspective that they want to bring to this game has been very intriguing to me. So I want to see what that kind of genre would be like, or I guess that mix of genres would be like from that direction.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued by that. If you want kind of that Bronze Age sword and sorcery with probably some sci-fi in the background kind of element, check it out because like I know a lot of people who really like that. And seeing
I'm a big He-Man fan, so yeah.
Well, seeing a different kind of expression of that is really intriguing to me. And then a lot of what they have in the Kickstarter is random charts and kind of lists of weird things that you can encounter. So check it out. Like if you kind of like if you want fantasy that's not too far from what you're used to, but is a little twisted and weird. I'm intrigued by this.
Yeah, and it's a good point for following creators on Twitter and seeing the things that the people you follow create, because I think in a lot of ways you can get more of a view into the project. You know, Kickstarter page is static and it's there, it has the information, but if you follow and you see the creation from the ground up, I think it can give you a very good background.
And if you don't find anything about different creators that you're looking up, go ahead and message me and I will make up a wiki for them.
Nice.
All right, what do you have next, Christian?
Oh, this is actually 100% a bonsai one. Reason being, it's the Nautilus Wood D20 dice case. I looked at the video for this before the show today. It looks super neat. What it is a giant D20 that you can like pull the top off with magnets, and it's got a dice bag inside or a dice tray inside and coasters and like room for a whole bunch of dice. One of the reasons I like this is because my wedding ring case for my wedding was almost exactly the same thing, except like a 3D printed version. I'm like, oh man, these would be really beautiful made out of wood. I think that if Bonsai were here, she'd say the one thing she doesn't like about it is all the laser cutting, which I don't personally have a problem with because I don't believe in cutting off my own fingers for art.
But can it be used as a weapon?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it can 100% be used as a weapon. And one of the stretch goals is you get a really big one so you can use it as a much better weapon.
I do kind of feel like there's a 50-50 chance it would be a comedic weapon, where like you hit somebody over the head with it,
And they're like,
it just like
"Oh."
smashes dramatically,
And all the dice go
or
everywhere.
it kills them, like
Ooh.
50-50.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's like the dice ate, the big dice ate all the little baby dice.
But what is
And
cool
then
is that
some-
it's got this
Or it's
very,
like a spider.
it's got this very like Russian nesting doll feel. Like there's just more and more stuff
Yeah, 'cause-
inside.
'cause
The
it's-
more
so
you dig into it,
So it's a big D20. It's a
Yeah.
big like
with a
wooden-
dice box, a
wooden
tray,
laser
a
cut
dice
D20.
jail. It's just got
And
everything
you,
in it.
You take kind of like the top off of it, and in that top, it has like the dice jail, or another spot to hold more dice, or the special dice.
And
then,
like the lid has a little secret compartment
Yep.
in there to do even more stuff with.
And
It's
then,
just-
when you take the lid off and where it would go into the thing, you can put a dice tray in there, and then like there's coasters that fit in the dice tray. So, yeah.
I just like that it has a place to hide drugs.
There.
That's honestly it
Okay.
for me. I'm
All
just
right, so bonsai needs it to be a weapon. You need to hide drugs.
I need it to hide drugs and be a weapon.
Okay.
I just like dice.
Like a morning star with a screw top.
Yeah.
A Morningstar flask.
Sure.
That sounds dangerous.
It is
Drink out of
dangerous
it.
and delicious.
Yeah. I think weapons are designed to be dangerous.
The battle axe bong.
So like this was the project that I had sent to Bonsai. Because every week I come across like at least one woodworking thing, and I'm like, Bonsai, does this meet with your approval? And usually she's like, no.
Wait, and yet you don't send me the cute puppet Kickstarters?
I mean,
trusted
it got
that
sent to you. You didn't look at the video.
I trusted you would read the notes and look at the video.
There's
and
a lot
that
of notes
was a mistake.
in there.
That was a mistake.
Look, reading is hard.
The puppet theater of the mind.
Well, that's not in here.
We're
no
not
one
talking
can
about
back
that
it.
today.
Yeah, 'cause we're not talking about it.
We passed it over.
In other news, with 2 days left, is Verdun Steel Inferno, which is a war game, like a card-driven war game that is I am going back and forth on because I'm trying to I think I want to back it.
Yeah, down in the swamp they just say Verdun.
Oh, I like Verdun.
It
sounds more ominous to me.
That is technically true. I'm just saying. If you're from Louisiana, you say Verdun.
Verdun.
Verdun
did it. So I'm very intrigued by this game because I think I love the image they have of like the map with the little wooden pieces. I love the simplicity of that. Maybe it's like a reaction against all the KBGs that we've covered.
Yeah.
Of the gorgeous minis that are great. Sometimes I just want to push a little cube on a board.
Yeah.
And this seems to be kind of a classic war story. You know, artillery raining down on your troops, and you're sending them across the battlefield trying to win.
You know, I'm going through this list right here of the Kickstarters, and Eat Trash Be Free. Can we safely say cutest Kickstarter with what we've got so far?
Yeah.
I'm going through the ones we got ahead.
I think Gladius might be the only one that even competes.
Gladius is pretty cute too. It's also vicious.
Well, the two of you can fight that out.
Wait, so when you were saying pushing your cubes, do you have like a little ruler that you push them along
you
with?
have to get the pool cue thing so that you can stand back in your military uniform
okay,
in the
so
war
that was
room.
like from
like
the
a
video
craps
scene,
table,
and
and
I can know we do this, and everyone's standing around it and looking very angry.
All of this money is mine.
Exactly that.
Some of that is yours.
So that has 2 days left. If you're looking for kind of a new war game that wants to kind of be a little more accessible to folks who aren't big into war games. With 3 days left, we have another project that has 2 different games, 2 very small games. One is the Ming Voyages and the March of Progress.
Oh, Ming, R.I.P. Mox van Sydow, right?
So these are 2 small games. One of them is an asymmetric game, and I'm like, oh, I'm in. A small box asymmetric game is 2 thumbs up for me. And the other one is kind of a micro war game. So again, I really like very small portable games that promise a deeper strategic experience that I can take when I go to cons, and I don't have to have a huge bag full of stuff. So that has 3 days left, and you should check that one out. And then the next project with 4 days left is the return of another project from Heresy Lab, which I think we've covered a couple times. These are resin miniatures, mostly for 40K kind of thing, but not technically branded that way.
Right, but like dark future fantasy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, like dark gothic future fantasy thing. And
there is no happiness. There is only boobs.
So they could be
and
replacements for your armies?
Yep. So I think some of the ones we've covered before were
They look cool.
models that were all female sculpts from different factions and whatnot.
Yeah.
This one, so if anybody's familiar with 40K, you have all these Primarchs. You have these Space Marine legions and stuff like that, and each one is led by this capital D dude.
Yeah.
And he's got a huge face. He's 12
Huge
feet
face.
tall.
Doesn't wear a helmet.
He's
you
got
know.
big head mode.
I like that the resin is female quality.
Yeah. So each of these legions has this huge epic manliness dude thing leading them all, or dead, or whatever in the backstory. But this project is all female scopes or reimagining of those characters.
Yeah.
So if you kind of want to gender bend your army and have your leader,
God knows I do.
yeah, see, and have your leader be a woman instead.
Gender bend, or just have women in the game.
What if my leader
on how
was a
closely you're
woman
following
to
the lore.
begin with?
There.
Yeah. So it's neat because it's a different take on a lot of these archetypes, and it's not the official Games Workshop scopes, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's
because they have women.
not only that, but because it's not official, but it's them kind of taking some of the themes of those different legions and making their own characters around them.
Wait, so which is the Star Wars knockoff theme?
There's no Star Wars. What are you talking about?
Oh, they have like the Dark Mater in there, who's Darth Vader, basically.
Sure. I mean, like, it's like there's a lot of dark mother themes that are independent of Star Wars in there. Like,
no, it's a Darth Vader.
Maybe it was
helmet.
just really big on constitutionalism and
that
it's
one
Darth
is-
Vader.
That one's just like, hey,
No?
we would like to take a side turn into a reference.
Yeah.
There's not like a stormtrooper themed
Okay.
Space Marine Legion, because the secret is they're all stormtroopers.
Okay.
That's the
That
trick.
makes sense. So I give it a B+, A- for women representation. I think the characters are done
B plus
pretty,
and an A minus?
B+. It's on the
Somewhere
border.
between.
Yeah. So like a B. Wait, no. Yeah.
This is definitely not a booby starter. This is
Yes.
definitely like these are women in cool power armor.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I think you got a little bit of balloon boob there, which always throws me off a little bit, but for the most part, pretty respectful.
They are definitely
representation.
wearing clothes.
Yes.
Well, I'm out.
So that has 4 days left. But then with 6 days left,
6 days left, we have Gladius, an award-winning board game for 2 to 5 players. I'm very excited about this because this is another game done by local designers. I mean, the Seattle area board game design community is just kind of blowing up right now. I just want to say that. It's very exciting.
you as a representative thereof.
Yes. This message is not sponsored by the Seattle area board gamers.
Oh,
but
what
I
awards did it
am-
win? It says it's an award-winning board game.
Yeah, I think it was the shoot, I'm trying to remember the ETX award. The judges. If you go to the Kickstarter page, click on the link, then you'll definitely
They'll
see
probably
the
tell
links
you,
to
right.
all of those. So this one is art by Cheryl Young, designers Victoria Kenya and Alex Uboldi. I played it. It's great. You should check it out. It's gladiatorial games, but you have different gladiators that you're betting on to win. So it's less. It's not a combat
you're the
game.
spectator. I
You're the
kind of dig
spectators.
that.
Yeah.
But you can also like cheat.
Oh yeah, you can throw them under the bus, and you can like put your bet for them to lose.
Or the chariot, as the
throw 'em
case
under
may be.
The chariot, yeah. So you're putting cards on them to either make them, and then you can split the battles too. So it's got a little bit of a wrestling vibe to it. It's like, and now there's another person in here, and both of them are gonna beat up on the other gladiators in the ring.
And so for the art you mentioned, because you were also talking about how this might be a contender for cute Kickstarter of the week.
Yeah.
The art is pretty adorable for the gladiatorial murder combat theme.
Yeah. I think there's.
Raccoon thieves are still cuter.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with him on this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
Emma would not disagree with me on this. She likes cute furry things.
I wouldn't call this cute exactly. I think the art is fresh and fun, and it doesn't have like a grim, dark feel to it. I think the way they took the art direction for this really communicates the game. It's like it is about the
They
spectators.
really made gladiatorial combat just adorable.
Just
Fun for the whole family.
fun for the whole family, yeah.
Finish him!
There. And great diversity and representation in the game too. So definitely check this out. It's doing very well. It's a fun game, and I can definitely recommend it.
Great. And that has, what, 6 days
6
left?
days
I think we
left.
said?
Yep.
Another project with 6 days left is Night Tales. And this is a cooperatively or semi-co-op, depending on how you want to play it. Like, I guess the Empire has fallen into ruin, and the one heir to the Empire is
Heath
hiding.
Ledger.
Yep. Heath Ledger is hiding out in this farmhouse, and you're the knight sworn to protect that heir from a horde of monsters coming from the forest.
Easy peasy.
Sure, yeah. And the Kickstarter video has these really cute things of like there's a little like cardboard cart that you can light on fire if you lose. It just I'm assuming it's effects in the video, but I like the idea of
You
lighting it on
actually
fire.
I do like the
light
idea
on
of lighting-
fire.
You're not supposed to, but like the idea of you have this board that is kind of like you set this up, you have a little cardboard wall, and then you have these tracks that come in from the little forest. The way the board was set up was very cute, is what I would say.
Cute and deadly.
Sure, yes.
Yeah.
So you're basically
Trash pandas on a heist cute?
definitely not that cute.
Okay, just wanted to make
No,
sure.
like,
I just want to see
I'm
if
not-
there's
I'm
anything
not
else
putting
coming up
this
in the
as a
running. I'm just
contender. How about this? Clever.
clever. I like clever.
Clever. Yeah,
Just to
clever.
clarify.
I can appreciate the word clever.
So you have like these different monsters that might be in the forest. I guess you pick a different like mastermind monster that might be behind it, and then you kind of do waves of combat that come through, kind of like imagine some of the MOBAs or even like Plants vs Zombies or something like that.
Fighting waves,
The monsters
though.
are coming at you and kind of in channels, and you have to defend and keep them too many of them from coming into the
It's like
village,
300, but in a shack.
basically. Sure, more like I guess 30 rather than 300.
Well, you know, you got to scale down.
But if you're looking for a co-op game, or you're looking for kind of a thematic experience with a different board setup, check it out. That's got 6 days left.
Nice.
Also with 6 days left, and this might actually win cutest Kickstarter if we're going.
If we're going just by the
video.
video, this 100% wins cutest Kickstarter this week.
So this is Soulbound, a dark industrial fantasy. So this is clearly a very personal passion project by this creator.
Yeah.
Because they talked about how they had been working on it since their freshman
Freshman year of high school, right?
yeah.
So
Which doesn't look like it was that long ago for them.
So it's a dark industrial fantasy. You have this weapon, magic weapon that's bound to you, suggestions of demonic power of some kind of thing.
Yeah, I
you're
really
a
liked it that
warlock.
everything there's a visual component to everything, which is very very cool. Makes it very easy to understand.
They harped on it a lot that they have flow charts and icons and visual representations to kind of teach you how to play everything.
I do appreciate that. I mean,
I
that's
do too.
something
Like if you're
haven't
just getting into a
seen-
game, it's way easier with that.
Yeah, you don't usually see that. You have the charts, and everything is usually done the way it's always been done. So this is good innovation.
A lot of games do presume that you have played other games and are used to the
Yeah.
normal operation process.
Right.
But what really, because dark industrial, I'm in for.
Yep.
Everyone has sold their soul for a weapon. Sounds like my gig.
Yep.
But what really sold me was definitely just the creator just being so passionate on their
And,
videos.
yes,
Yeah.
and
It's so adorable. It's
they
it's
do
heartwarming.
the voiceover
Uh-huh.
through the whole video, but then it cuts to their face in different parts and kind of just showing things, and it is seriously so cute.
Yeah, it's really well done.
The moment they were to the camera, I was
Yeah.
like, yep, we're
I
in.
was like, okay, you're
So,
my best friend.
If any of that sounds good, check it out. Definitely listen to that video. The next project with 6 days left as well is Viscounts of the West Kingdoms.
Wait, it's not Viscount?
No, it's not.
Definitely not Viscounts.
What?
Judges
It's
were not
spelled
looking for
Viscounts.
Viscounts.
Oh my gosh, have you been going to work and trying to get an employee discount? You know it's die count, right? Oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, thank you, Christian, for helping to spin her off on a
Yeah.
what, huh? So anyway, Viscounts of the West Kingdom. This is noteworthy because this is the same kind of artist and design studio that did Raiders of the North Sea
Yeah.
and Paladins of the West Kingdoms
Yeah,
and
there's a
Architects of the
lot
West Kingdoms.
in there.
I think this is the third
Real
one
jerks
in the
of the
West
East
Kingdom.
Kingdoms.
Yeah, that one. I think this is the third one in that series.
Yeah.
Or the West Kingdom series in particular. And just there's something about the art for that I really love.
Yeah.
And this version of it really just follows the Viscount experience.
It looks really close to that. Were you going to talk about the Viscount experience in detail?
I think we really should. I think we should. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So, there's something about the art that really just draws me in. The characters are very expressive. They're very different from each other. They don't look iconically heroic. They look like they're kind of not cartoony, but very expression people. It's
There's a style to it, like a unique graphical style. What I've heard, I haven't gotten a chance to play one of these games yet, but everyone who's talked to me about them, it says, it's a deck builder or worker placement, but there's just something about it. They just do something different to it. So it seems like a lot of those things, they're not necessarily reinventing the wheel with a completely new mechanical product, but they're doing enough different things with the art, with the mechanics to make it stand out in a crowded field.
So well-polished executions, if
Yeah.
not complete revolutions.
Yeah.
So this particular one is apparently a deck builder with a rondelle, some tableau building and stuff like that. So check out the art. If the art kind of speaks to you, dive in.
Yeah.
And that has 6 days left.
And
Now going to you.
If you wait long enough, you can probably get a die count on it.
Don't.
So now we go.
want
Now we
that.
go to Christian with our latest Kickstarter.
Yes. This is another bonsai Kickstarter, and I just want to make sure I do it justice.
We
It's-
really need that news sound.
I feel like I need to put it. Yeah, I feel like I really need to try and force a segue in here too.
That's what I was trying to
Just
do. I was like, now we go to Christian with.
Yep. Now we go to Christian with sports,
Sure.
because games are sports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
No,
Sports.
I
Sports are games.
specifically
Sports
said
are
the opposite.
games.
Sports are games. Games aren't sports.
Wow.
Do you need a game that smells of rich mahogany? Well, we've got just the one for you. It's Anchorman, the game, created by two guys that really like their games. They look like they specialize in party games, specifically award-winning party games. Well, now they've got one that you can play at your party. It's Anchorman. It's based on the movie Anchorman. You play one of the characters from Anchorman, and you try and read off a teleprompter that has blank spaces in it that your friends fill in words with a little magnet, it looks like. So they could, instead of doing refrigerator poetry, they just kind of put like semi-nasty words in these blank spaces.
Right, that's a great way to
And
start
your
it.
whole job is to read this Mad Lib, trademark,
Angry lib.
out loud without laughing.
Anchor Lib.
So you're like, this week at Chicken Titties, you get to, that's one of the words in there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It
that
I
absolutely is.
specifically used that because that word is in the video.
It is
Sure.
in there.
Chicken titties.
Yeah.
Sure.
I wanted to say it again just then, so I did.
Okay, you've repeated it.
You know,
So,
chickens don't produce milk, right? So
but when we eat them, we label them that way.
there.
So,
It's because the front of any torso is. Anyway,
yep.
that's-
So, yes.
So there it is. It's a party game. It's like Mad Libs, except you put refrigerator poetry on it and then read it out loud without laughing. And if you don't laugh, I guess you win. But if you do laugh, you lose. The end.
Cool. That's
Got a great toy
inspiring.
factor to it, even if you're just messing around with the boards and the magnets, then get some laughs.
Yep. Do you like Mad Libs? Check it out.
Do you like Anchorman?
Check it out.
Yeah.
Emma, 7 days left.
Yeah, last but certainly not least, yet another game from the Seattle area tabletop game designers. I swear, I'm not handing Gen Con money to get all of our games on here. They're just really good games.
Wait, that
What?
was an option?
What? No.
You could have
what?
handed me money to get these games
no.
out here? Let us discuss
you,
this.
You picked these for the list.
You were
I'm
supposed
just
to hand me the
reading.
money before I picked.
That's not how it works. Not how it works.
Oh.
So, Public Market. Another game by Flat Out Games with amazing art by Beth Sobel. If you don't know who Beth Sobel is, then you don't know anything, because half the games in the industry are illustrated by Beth, and amazing artist, very good at making kind of that photorealistic art. Another game recently that blew up on Kickstarter was Calico, adorable cats. This one is Fish, maybe adorable.
Wait, wasn't Calico the one that was called Calico, had adorable cats, but was about making a
quilt?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
but the cats sit on the quilt.
I
It is
remember
mechanical.
my indignant rage about that.
that there was cats in it?
No, that it was called Calico. And it was
Yeah.
not about the cats. It was about
Calico-
making a quilt.
Calico is also a type of fabric.
Uninterested.
double entendre.
Uninterested.
Anyways, Public Market. So this one is, and if you are local to Seattle or have been to Washington at all, then you will know about the market that we have here. So the Pike Place Market. So it's definitely themed. It's got a Pacific Northwest theme to it, about buying and selling fish, and it's tile placement. It's actually somewhat crunchy.
Just like the market itself.
Yeah.
Yep, all the tiles. placed.
All the tile
very many
placement.
tiles. So this one, if you're looking for something a little crunchier, this definitely does lean into. You can kind of get that vibe from the theme of it. It's not. It wouldn't be in like a cute or casual game. It's definitely a thinky tile placement game. So if that's something you're interested in,
This might be a joke that only Seattle residents will get.
There.
But if there was an official Pike Place market game, it would have to be a tile replacement game.
for retiling, yeah.
Anyway, when I saw the Kickstarter, I was like, Public Market, and I saw the first promo image. I'm like, is this in Pike Place in the Northwest? And it was like, yup. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, I think that there's the designers, our group, are actually very passionate about getting Pacific Northwest
I've
as
never
a
found my
theme.
tile. My grandma bought me one in
Oh,
the 80s when they were
yeah.
retiling.
Yeah,
I've got one with
yeah.
the name on it. Never found it.
Gotta keep looking for it.
Probably got replaced.
So this is great if you're
what I'm
interested in tile placement and fish markets, kind of a breath of fresh Pacific Northwest air, then you should check out
I mean,
this game.
fishy smelling, but fresh.
7 days left. Well, if
Depends
it's
on what part
fresh,
of the
it
market
doesn't
you're
smell
standing in.
like fish. Just saying that. You're,
Oh my
buying, you're
gosh.
buying bad fish.
Are we out of Kickstarters?
We are
Yeah.
out of Kickstarter.
Oh man, that means we're probably out of show, but don't worry. We got Mark from Mox coming in for the new release rundown in just a few minutes. We got a new show on Fridays, game night, where you can see some of your favorites. here at the table.
I'll be there.
Tonight is going to be GM Rodney Thompson and players Lauren, Peter, Derek, and Emma. I know 2 of these people are right next to me right now. That's great news.
We're going to be playing Spectaculars.
Our normal streaming schedule is the Brothers Murph on Mondays, but they are traveling in Europe currently, so we're probably not going to see them this week. But they'll be back on Wednesday for Minis with the Murphs. Don't forget the Fireside Chat at 4 p.m. with Peter and Emma. The Westgate Irregulars at 6:30, where writers play role-playing games. On Friday, of course, we have TableTakes in the mornings, and then the new release rundown right after that, and game night every week. Badges for Gen Con are on sale now. Remember to follow and subscribe. Turn on those notifications so you can see us talk to you anytime you want. If you miss a show, we're on YouTube, so just check it out a day later. We have a podcast of Fireside if you want to just listen to stuff. That's great. We'd like to thank all the viewers for watching today. We'd like to thank Peter and Chaldea Studios for putting us up. My name's Christian. This is Emma. This is Derek. Bonsai's in the chat room because we miss her so much. We got a couple of jerks back here behind the computers.
We love them.
We do. We love them very much. I think they're great. Oh, wait, not that one, but the other one is really nice. We will see you next time. Have a safe weekend, everybody. Wash your effing hands.